All right, folks. Hey, so I want to share with you something cool. I made these little cardboard boxes today, and I did it originally in a live stream, and I ruined it. So I figured let me take my time and go back and actually make the boxes and do it, in my studio. And I came out with some really cool looking cardboard boxes to add to my scene. Forgive my voice. I've been a little sick lately, so, I sound a little funny, but anyway, these boxes are great, and the cool thing about these is the templates that you can get for these boxes are free. I've linked the description. In the description, I've linked the website to get these boxes and the templates. So anyway, once you print out the template, like you see here, I'm just going to trim it down with an X-Acto knife and try to be as precise as you can. It's, the more precise, the better. What I'm doing here, though, first is I'm just going to trim down the paper template, and I'm going to make sure that it folds right and that I understand how it folds. When I did the live stream, two things I did wrong is that I printed the box too small, and I used a more rigid cardboard that wasn't as easily, it didn't have enough give for the small print that I did. So anyway, you're going to cut the blue lines. That's where it folds, and the red lines are where the box folds. And so you want to make sure to cut the blue lines, and then we're going to crease them with the ruler, and every place that it folds, we're going to bend it back toward the ruler to get a nice solid crease in there. And even though this isn't going to actually be the box, it's going to be the template, I want to make sure that it folds right and that it looks right and that I understand how it's going to go together. And with my chubby sausage fingers, I use that little spatula to pick the paper up off the mat and fold it back, because with my fingers and the gloves, I just can't pick up the paper. So we just do it that way. It's really easy. But this website offers all types of different box configuration templates for free. And for those who want to use this actual box here, I'll link in the description also a place where you can download it from, the template from my Google Drive. So I'll link that in the description also if you don't want to fuss with the other website and you just want to go ahead and download this box here. I've got two different sizes for you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to fold every place that's red. I'm going to fold the paper back to the red dots to make sure that everything fits. And that's what it does. It all fits. That tab goes on the inside and it gets a little bit of glue, and it's just like a regular rectangular shipping box. It's the easiest box on the website to make, I think, and suits my needs best. And the one I printed earlier was not like this. It was a lot more of a headache. That's what happens when you don't put much thought into it. You just think it's going to be an easy box. A couple things here. You want to start with a nice clean flat piece of cardboard. I use a cereal box because my boxes are going to be closed when they're in the diorama, so it doesn't matter if there's printed material on the inside of the box or not. If you don't want printed material, then find a thin piece of cardboard to use. But we're going to go ahead and put that paper template down, and we're going to trace it pretty darn closely, and then we're going to fold each flat back, and we're going to trace those lines also, because we're trying to get all the red and all the blue lines in order to that when we cut this out, it's going to fold in the right spots. It's really important. But this was fun, and it's free, and boxes can add so much to your scene, whether it's an alleyway, a warehouse, anything. You got superheroes throwing boxes. This is just cool, and it's fun, and it probably took me from start to finish, painting and everything, maybe, an hour to do this box. No big deal. And so at any rate, once you're confident with the tracing that you've done, I go back through and I kind of shore up my lines a little bit, because I kind of loosely traced it freehand. And then I went back through with the ruler and just kind of shored everything up. And I'm just going to cut it out with the scissors. Cut it pretty close to those lines. And then once again, we're just going to cut each individual side flap. Just like that. Cut those side flaps. That way this can all bend and all fold where it's supposed to. And then I'm going to go ahead. Now this part has a little a little tougher to get the creases in. So what I did is I just used the end of my Sharpie and I just rolled that Sharpie along the cardboard and the hard edge of the ruler to really get a nice crisp fold in there. And I fold it forwards and backwards. That way you get a nice, 90-degree angle in there. You don't want rounded cardboard, box edges. And so I just make it a point to really kind of press that cardboard up against a straight edge ruler to really get it nice and creased. And I use that little spatula. I mean, you can use whatever. You can use your fingers might work. Mine didn't. So, and when you just get done being sick, everything is like super clumsy. So I was super clumsy. I thought I was getting, better. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I can go out to my garage and I feel better. But it just didn't work that way. I was super clumsy. But at any rate, here I'm rolling the Sharpie handle against the cardboard here, just really pressing it up against the hard edge of the ruler to get some nice heavy creases in there, folding it backwards and forwards. But this is cool. This is really easy. And the main thing is just to print the box out the right size, because if you don't, or you print some really super intricate box, you might have a headache doing it. I don't know if these were intended for dollhouses or miniature dioramas, but I've scaled, this to the size I need. And some of the other ones would be really tough to do as a miniature box. So we'll stick with this rectangular one. But like I say, once again, you can download from my Google Drive the template that I resized and used for this box here to save you the trouble of going to that website, or you can just go to the website and it's linked in the description below also. But great resource for boxes. You might think, oh, it's just a box, I'm just going to make a square. But you know what? When you get them like this and they fold all really cool and nice and everything, man, it's pretty cool. And it was nice to be able to go there, download this, and the first time I blew it, but but the second time I got it, and I figured I better make a good video of it and put it up here and share with you folks, because you might really appreciate the resource that this website offers. So once everything is finally creased and folded in all the different directions, we can start gluing it. And it's pretty fun because you can texture these, or you can put holes in them, or you can, kind of do what you want with them, kind of age them a little bit with some washes. And you'll see me later on, I'll do some of that. I'll add some washes, and I'll get after it with a little Dremel and a wire brush tool on there, and kind of distress it a little bit. You can label these boxes. So we're going to kind of get an idea, make sure everything fits, and make sure it's fairly square. Sometimes, it seems like you might be a little bit off or whatever, but we're not building jet plane engines, so it can be off a little bit. The tolerances don't have to be that perfect. So we'll put a little hot glue in there. Let that rascal dry, and we'll just seal that box up, man. And it was fun because, even though I put like a Johnson & Johnson label on here, you can put whatever you want. You can leave the boxes open. You can crumple them up. And you'll see here, I kind of crumple mine a little bit and put some wrinkles in it just to make it look a little bit more distressed. And I think it came out pretty well. I'm going to use it in the current build that I'm doing. But we'll just push those flaps down inside there. That kind of overlaps a little bit right there, but it's not a big deal. You can trim it if you want. I don't think anybody's going to look at, super close at the box and say, hey, those flaps overlap a little bit. So, don't worry about that. The thing here is I'm trying not to get hot glue on my glove because that makes a mess. I don't mind, I want it on the cardboard, but I don't want to touch it with my gloves. And so anyway, once we fold it down, just let it dry a little bit. Not like that. Pull it back up. Oh, it's not dry. There we go. Press it down. I press it from the inside with the bottom of my X-Acto knife blade. But all this, man, you wouldn't think it would be as involved as this. Even though it's pretty simple once you get it down, there's a lot of steps to it. It's not just throw a little square box up there. There might be other ways to make boxes. I don't know. Honestly, I've never made a box. And so this is my first cardboard box that I've made out of cardboard. I've made other boxes out of popsicle sticks and stuff like that, but like more crates and stuff. But an actual cardboard box, this was my first, and it's pretty cool. I figured you folks might enjoy doing the same thing, because who doesn't have some cereal boxes laying around? It's something that you could readily make and do pretty easily, and add instantly a lot of depth to your diorama. I decided to trim the flap down a little bit here because it was just hanging off a little bit. Get that old piece of double-sided tape off there. Just kind of give it a look over and make sure everything's closed up and sealed up. And heck, it's a box. It's a box. There we go. Move that old hot glue out of the way. Now I get out the Dremel. These little wire brush attachments are great because you can actually really create lots of age and distress and damage with these in a very controlled way pretty quickly. And all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to turn this on, and I'm going to lightly graze the surface of the box, kind of just bringing the very surface finish of the box up a little bit, exposing the next layer of cardboard that's beneath it. And so and then knock down the edges a little bit and some of my pencil marks and stuff, and just kind of go through there and just rough it up a little bit. Man, look at that. How cool is that? If you don't have a Dremel, you could just use a piece of sandpaper, emery board, drag it across whatever grit sandpaper you like to get a nice bit of roughness to it. You don't really want super sharp edges and corners in the end. You might want that, but for me, I wanted something that looked a little more used and old. So, I'm knocking it all down here with the wire wheel and sandpaper, and you can do the same, or you can just leave it all nice and crisp. It's up to you. Got my little sanding block out. There we go. Man, we got a cool looking box. Time to paint this thing up. Just little washes. And it's going to look really dark here, but it dries lighter. So be careful that you don't go too dark. It looks really dark, but it does dry lighter. So, I just stipple it on with a sponge, black wherever I want. And then I go through and I dab some really watered down brown wash in through the box also to kind of blend stuff together, just so it looks a little bit older. Where'd I go? Here's some really watery brown wash. And I'll stipple this with the end of a paintbrush. You can stipple with whatever you want. I got a really porous sponge right there, and you can do a paper towel. The main thing is you just want to kind of blend it all together. And keep the washes pretty light. And I'm impatient, so I use my heat gun. As always. But look, man, we got a cool looking little box already, man. Isn't that cool? And I've never made one. How cool. And the templates are free. This is a cool rainy day project, man, or some light project that you feel like being crafty, but you don't want to get too deep in craftiness, so you keep it light. And this is a perfect one for that, man. You can knock out, I like to do things in threes, so you can knock out 3 boxes, probably about an hour and a half or so, man. It wouldn't take very long at all. Now I'm going to do these labels. Now these are circular labels. I like to stay away from circular labels because I don't cut them very well, but there's a trick here that I'm going to do where I'm just going to rough the edges up anyway to distress them, so they don't have to be perfectly cut circles. I like to use, like placards, diamonds or square labels when possible, because I'm not into cutting circles very well. But It helps when I trim the paper down, and then I can just kind of rotate the image around the X-Acto knife blade. But these are going to be moistened with glue anyway, and I'm going to kind of just scuff the edges up a little bit and peel them back just to make them look a little bit damaged anyway. So it doesn't matter if they're really that round. You're not going to notice the edges anyway, being that I'm going to damage them a little bit with the tweezers. So it's no big deal. And I just print these on my inkjet printer. There's no super technical piece of equipment here. Now this dang PVA glue, well, I tell you what, I had to get the pliers out on this. I couldn't open it. That thing was on there. There we go. And I'm just going to use these tweezers, and I'm just going to brush with a small brush glue on the back of these labels, and just put them on the box. And you could do whatever labels you want, man. I mean, you could come up with some really cool ideas, current affairs or political things, or radioactive masks or hazardous placards, whatever, man. Just all the cool stuff that you could come up with, lost voter ballots, who knows. Whatever you want to do, man. I just chose Johnson & Johnson because it's going to go with the diorama kind of that I'm making. It's going to fit in with that kind of nicely. It's a zombie. Actually, it's not a zombie diorama, really. It's more, it's Ash from Evil Dead, but, I did create a really cool silhouette in a door that's you'll see, it's crazy, but I don't want to get off subject. We just talk about the boxes, but this is going to tie in with what I'm doing with the diorama anyway, so it's pretty cool. And little tweezers, boy, they come in handy. Man, and I have been recovering the last 4 days from this good old-fashioned flu. That's what it was, the old-fashioned flu. It's good when you're when you're happy to get the old-fashioned flu, right? Man, I was laid up. I couldn't do anything. I was like, oh, I'm tired of being in bed, but man, I couldn't go anywhere. So anyway, here I'm just scuffing the edges, kind of just marking them and dragging the paper up a little bit just to kind of lose a little of the definition of the circle or lack of circle that I cut, and it just kind of hides that a little bit, and it makes it, it ties it all in with the whole damaged looking thing. I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for creating damaged stuff, I wouldn't do good. If you wanted something super realistic, I wouldn't be able to do it, but I can make the damaged stuff. And I just continue to go around here and mark it up a little bit and drag the edges back of the circle a little bit. I probably could have speed ramped that. So you guys don't get bored. But, heck. Whenever you guys, if you make some boxes or something, definitely post your comments or whatever. Your feedback is good. I appreciate it. Let me see pictures of your boxes. For those that follow me on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, I'd definitely like to check them out. I'd like to see everybody's images. I think we're looking pretty good with that. I take a little really rough grit sandpaper just to knock down that black arrow just a little bit. Just to scuff that corner up. But like I say, alleyways warehouses, sidewalks, you know, I mean, you can just add boxes to fill out a scene and instantly give it, you know, more story. And so, you know, boxes are great for that. 3 or 4 or 5 boxes in a scene, man, and she whiz, you know, and some barrels, you're looking good. At any rate, hope you folks like this. I appreciate you watching. It's all a learning process and a learning curve, man. Appreciate everybody's feedback, and like and subscribe. Share my channel. Check out my Google Drive link below if you want the template for this box here. In the meantime, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.